Minister, the proposed reduction in beds in Bantry Hospital Mental Health Unit is extremely worrying. They provide a vital service for West Cork in helping treat people in their locality. Since the news broke, many people have been speaking about the fantastic help they received in the unit, life-saving assistances in some cases. I can't emphasise how important these beds are for West Cork. The planned decrease from 18 to 11 beds is due to a finding from the Mental Health Commission concerning the state of the building and physical infrastructure. While the HSE have to legally comply with this ruling, management has said that if they had the resources for a viable plan to address the issues, it could make a compelling appeal. No one wants to compromise standards and nobody wants the beds to close. But Minister, we immediately need you to intervene in this situation to work with the hospital and the CHO management to put in place a solution. This can be resolved by political will. We're looking at a reduction of from 18 beds to 11, and the average capacity in the mental health unit in Bantry at the moment is generally between 14 and 16. So what will happen to those people who are normally in those 3 to 4 additional beds? Presumably the first thing that will be looked at is that they'll be moved to other facilities, places like Carrickmore, but then they'll be moved out of acute care for all of the wrong reasons. Essentially, we know that if there was a plan, like there is, for example, in older people's care, that we had multi-annual funding, the Commission would know there's something down the line that's going to change. At this point, what are we offering them? No solutions. So they're going to reduce the number of beds, even though that we have exactly what we need at the moment. The Commission have to do their job. The HSE have to comply. The government needs to fund this on a multi-annual basis to ensure we can keep those beds.
Thank the deputies for raising this very important issue today. And as you did outline, the Mental Health Commission has made the decision to put a restriction on the registration of the Mental Health Care and Recovery Approved Centre in Bantry General Hospital, given the concerns over the size of residents' bedrooms in the centre. The decision, as you did say, would mean the centre's total number of registered beds would reduce from 18 to 11. The centre, which is located on the grounds of Bantry General Hospital, provides residents with acute care, rehabilitation and recovery supports for their mental health difficulties. It serves the local West Cork area, including areas around Skibbereen, Clonakilty and Bantry. The HSE are currently examining all options available to them in light of this decision and are in dialogue with the Mental Health Commission as part of the regulatory process. Minister Butler has requested a detailed report from the HSE on this matter, which is expected shortly and following the HSE's options appraisal. Minister Butler would like to assure you that she will continue to liaise with the HSE to ensure all decisions and actions taken in relation to the centre are made with the best interests of the residents in mind, both from a healthy and safety viewpoint and from the provision of appropriate treatments. Mental health remains a key priority for the Government, and we are fully committed to delivery of high-quality, person-centred, recovery-orientated mental health services. And our long-term strategy aim for our mental health services is to provide a consistent, high-quality service for anyone in need of support for their mental health. Mental health residences such as the centre in Bantry provide an important step-down service for people with mental health difficulties, enabling their rehabilitation and recovery and assisting them to move towards independent community living accommodation. This aim is supported by our national policies, Sharing the Vision and Sláinte Care, and it is our responsibility to ensure the provision of high-quality mental health services that are fit for purpose. The Government acknowledges that mental health services must constantly evolve and develop to ensure that they are in line with international best practice and regulatory requirements. It is positive to note that there has been an overall improvement in compliance among approved mental health centres in recent years. However, it is recognised that further improvements are required to ensure mental health centres continue to meet the appropriate regulatory requirements. The Government continues to invest in mental health centres through capital planning, and 14 million has been allocated to mental health services in 2022, and a further 6 million has been allocated through minor works capital. And the Minister has assured us that additional funding will be sought in 2023 to continue to improve premises.
If I were to paraphrase that, the Health Commissioner saying the rooms are a bit small and therefore they're going to dispatch people off somewhere else. That's my reading of that reply. But anyway, it's not for me to pursue. Deputy Kearns and then Deputy Collins.
Gordon, I think your analysis is accurate, and that's, unfortunately, Minister, it's not a very reassuring response, and rhetoric like sharing the vision around mental health services just utterly irrelevant when we're talking about a reduction of 18 beds to 11. Like the County Court has said, they'll be moved to somewhere else. But facilities like Carrickmore are not acute care, so people will be moving there for the wrong reasons because the facility isn't up to scratch. What is the plan? Do you think the HSE should appeal it? On what grounds? What funding is there to improve the spaces for people in those services? The most important thing here is obviously to move quickly, so it's incredibly disappointing that the relevant minister isn't actually here. A strong proposal from her could save these very vital beds. If we want to take mental health seriously, then these beds are needed and they must be retained and they must be up to scratch. The staff in Bantry Hospital do incredible work, not only in mental health services, but in essential healthcare for the region. And this whole situation only increases local fears around the future of that hospital. Your support, Minister, if you would go to the relevant minister, would not only help save the service, but it will boost confidence in the continued role for Bantry Hospital.
Yeah, look, I hear you loud and clear, and both the Government and the HSE, they value regulation of our mental health services, and it does provide a framework in which to constantly review and improve our services so they remain person-centred. And the long-term strategic aim for mental health services is to provide a consistent quality approach across all mental health residences. And the Government will continue to work with both the Mental Health Commission and the HSE to improve our mental health services and ensure they best serve the needs of our service users. Again, I want to thank you, the deputies, for raising this important matter, and I assure you that your views will be taken to the Minister. And I understand the Minister wanted to be here tonight, and I can tell there was a family bereavement that she had to attend, and I assure you that she will be informed of further developments relating to the centre. And Minister Butler will continue to liaise with the HSE to ensure the care needs and preferences of the residents remain central to any decisions made in relation to the mental health care and recovery centre in Bantry. And you have stated that you want the Minister to liaise with the various stakeholders, and I understand she is doing that. And as again, we do value the Mental Health Commission. They make decisions, and we have to work around them. But I think the Minister is doing everything possible with yourselves, and thank you for raising this very important issue.
Thank you for being here to deal with it, Minister Fian. The second important item comes in the name